I am making a Sacred Beast Dark World deck profile, as I've managed to get the rest of what I was still needing for Dark World outside of one card, that being Dark Corridor. But in this version of Dark World, I don't think Dark Corridor is needed. Now, if it was the pure version, I'd say it's definitely needed. But since this is a Sacred Beast focused variant, I feel like it's not that needed. I'll go and say now this is a 60 card deck, but I feel like if a Dark World mixed in, it kind of has to be. I could see it being cut down to at least 50, but that's just the version I currently have that I actually really like. Starting off with the monsters, I play one copy of Ceruli, Guru of Dark World. This card has the effect that if it's discarded to the graveyard by card effect, then you special summon this card to your opponent's field in defense position, and then when it's special summoned, it activates its effect to make your opponent discard one card. So it'll discard itself, you'll special summon it to your opponent's field, then it'll activate, forcing you to discard. Next, I play 3 copies of Genta, Gatemen of Dark World. Genta is the only Dark World monster, to my knowledge, that has a hard once per turn effect, where when it's in your hand, you can discard it to add a copy of the Gates of Dark World from your deck to your hand. And then its hard once per turn effect is if once per turn, if it is banished, you can special summon it. Next, I play 1 copy of Beige, Vanguard of Dark World. This card is a free summon when it is discarded to the graveyard by card effect. The main thing is that the Dark Worlds only trigger if they're discarded by effect and not for cost. So activate card destruction, they can summon. Activate Raigeki Break, they can't. Next, I play 3 copies of Snow, Unlight of Dark World. Snow has the effect that if it's discarded to the graveyard by a card effect, then you can add a Dark World card from your deck to your hand. And then if it was discarded by an opponent's card effect, then you also target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, and then summon that target to your field in face-up defense position. And then next, I play 1 copy of Gold, Woo Lord of Dark World. And then, let's see, it was... This special Okay. Gold is a free summon when discarded, like Beige, but then when discarded by an opponent's card, then it also lets you just target up 2 cards your opponent controls and destroy them. Then I play 2 copies of Silva. Silva is also a free summon when discarded, and then when discarded by an opponent's card effect, your opponent has to take 2 cards from their hand, putting either at the... I think it's at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, take 2 cards and put them at the bottom of the deck. The main thing with this deck is you can, if I remember correctly, you can actually easily just like use Silva twice and then use our triple tactics to put 1 more card back, and your opponent can just start their turn with like 1 card. The only downside of this deck, though, is that Droll and Lockbird will kill you, because this deck searches and draws like crazy. Next, I play 2 copies of Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World. This card has the mandatory effect if it's discarded to target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. I think it's card, it might be monster. Let's see. Nope, target card your opponent controls and destroy it. Then if it was discarded by an opponent's card effect, look at 1 random card in your opponent's hand. Then if it was a monster, you can summon it to your field. Next, I play 3 copies of Rainbow, Overking of Dark World. Rainbow has the effect when discarded to add a level 5 or higher Dark World, except for another copy of Rainbow from your deck to your hand. And then when discarded by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Dark World monster from your deck or graveyard to either field. And then that's it for the Dark World monsters. Moving on to the Danger monsters. which I consider honorary Dark Worlds, I play 2 copies of Danger Mothman. All the dangers have an effect where you can activate them in hand. You reveal it. Your opponent then chooses a card in your hand at random to discard. And then as long as it wasn't a monster with a card with the same name, then it will summon itself and you get to draw a card. And then they have their own effects to activate when they are discarded. Mothman makes it so that each player draws a card, then discards a card. Next, I play 2 copies of Chupacabra. Chupacabra, when discarded, will make it so that you can summon a... Don't know what that was. Chupacabra will make it so that you can discard a danger monster... You summon a danger from your graveyard. I don't know why I can't say words. Next, I play 3 Danger Nessie, and that's it for the dangers. Danger Nessie, when discarded, lets you add a danger monster except for another Nessie from your deck to your hand. For the Sacred Beast cards, I play 3 copies of Martyr of the Sacred Beasts. Martyr has the effect, when summoned, you can place a Sacred Beast continuous spell, continuous trap in your spawn trap zone, or you can place a Sacred Beast field spell in your field zone. Then Martyr has the effect where if you control a Sacred Beast monster, I think it has to be besides this one. Let's see, where is it? If you control another Sacred Beast monster, then you can summon 2 more Martyr from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And then its final effect is during your opponent's end phase, as long as you have a level, or a Sacred Beast monster's original level is 10 in your graveyard, you can activate Martyr's effect to return it to your hand. Next, I play 1 copy of Summoner of the Sacred Beast. Summoner of the Sacred Beast has 3 effects that let you summon a Sacred Beast in defense mode. I really like that Summoner is really good at summoning the Sacred Beast monsters, but I don't like that it summons them in defense mode. The other thing I need to mention is that Summoner summons a Sacred Beast monster that is not level 8, so it can also summon Martyr as well as any of the Sacred Beasts. But it has the effect where if it's in your hand, you can reveal it, discard a card, and then summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand. If it's on the field, you can activate its effect, I believe discard a card, and then summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand or graveyard. Let's see. And then its effect in hand for discard is not cost, but its effect on field, to summon from hand or grave, is cost. So, if you're using the effect on field, do not discard a Dark World, because then you won't get their effects. But I believe the dangers do. Yes, the dangers do trigger if they're discarded off the cost, whereas the Dark Worlds don't, because the Dark Worlds have to be discarded by a card effect, whereas the dangers just have to be discarded. And then Summoner of the Sacred Beast's last effect is you can banish it from the graveyard and then summon a Sacred Beast from your graveyard. Next, I play 2 copies of Inferno of the Sacred Beasts, Uriah, Lord of Searing Flames. All the Sacred Beasts share a similar effect, where you can reveal in your hand, add a Sacred Beast card of a specific type, monster, spell, or trap, and then discard 1 card. Uriah's effect will let you add a trap card. Uriah then gains 1,000 attack for every trap card in the graveyard, and then gains 1,000 attack and defense for every trap card in the graveyard. And then Uriah's final effect lets you target a spell or trap card on the field, quick effect, to destroy it, and then neither player can activate cards or effects in response. Next, I play 3 copies of Calamity of the Sacred Beasts, Haman, Lord of Strike and Thunder. Haman will let you grab a Sacred Beast spell, and then once per turn, mandatory effect, if a monster goes to your opponent's graveyard, then your opponent takes 1,000 points of damage. And then if Haman is destroyed, then you activate its effect so that until the end of the turn, you can't take any damage. And then lastly, I play 3 copies of Infinity of the Sacred Beasts, Raviel, Lord of Phantasms. Raviel, you grab a Sacred Beast monster, and then it also has the quick effect of letting you tribute 2 other Sacred Beast monsters to destroy all monsters your opponent controls, and then for each monster, you destroy as many monsters your opponent controls, and for each monster destroyed, Raviel permanently gains 1,000 attack. Oh yeah, and then the 3 level 10 Sacred Beasts cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned by the effect of a Sacred Beast card. And then lastly for the monsters, because I'm being that person, I play 1 copy of Spell Canceller. This card will be special summoned off of the Charmer Link 4 after being sent by the Link 5 dolls. And it just makes it so that spell cards and their effects on the field are negated. For the spells, I play 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent can be activated during the turn your opponent has activated a monster effect during the main phase, meaning when you give them Ceruli. And then lets you look at, or use 1 out of 3 effects, where you can take control of a monster your opponent controls to the end of the turn, draw 2 cards, or look at your opponent's hand and put a card back. Next, I play 1 copy of Darkworld Archives. I think that's what it is. I can't really see the name right now. Yeah, Archives. This card has the effect of during the main phase, you can discard a Darkworld monster, so that all Darkworld monsters you control will gain attack equal to its level times 100. And then if a Darkworld monster is discarded by card effect, then you can draw 2 cards and discard 1. Let's see, and I can't remember if it has another effect. Okay, it's my mistake. It is if a monster's original type is Fiend, is discarded by card effect, or by the effect of a Darkworld card or opponent's card effect. There we go. Discard 1 card, then draw 2 cards. Got it backwards. So, I'll say that again. If a Fiend is discarded by card effect or an opponent's card, or if a Fiend is discarded by a Darkworld effect or an opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, then you discard a card and then draw 2. Next, I play a card I am trying in the deck because a lot of people in my locals are able to play through my ability to grind. So I play 2 copies of DDR Different Dimension Reincarnation, not Dance Dance Revolution. I've heard that joke so many times. But this card has the effect where you can discard a card, then target one of your banished monsters and special summon it. However, if this card is destroyed, destroy that monster. Usually I will have us either summon Martyr or Summoner. And that's really all I need to continue my plays. Next, I play 2 copies of Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beasts. You cannot get away with 1. You have to be playing 2, at least. I've considered putting this at 3 just because of how often it gets dealt with. But Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beasts has 2 effects. The first one you can use 3 times per turn, and the last one you can only do once. But Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beasts has the effect of up to thrice per turn. You can send 3 cards from your hand or field to the graveyard, monster, spell, or trap. They have to be the same type. And then summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And then the summoned monster is unaffected by your opponent's spell and trap cards. And then once per turn, if you control a Sacred Beast monster whose original level is 10, then you can draw 2 cards. I just like this card keeps the Pot of Greed effect of the original Fallen Paradise. The main issue I have with the new Sacred Beast cards is that the retrains are not considered the original, which makes so that the older Sacred Beast cards do not work with the new ones. Next, I play 2 copies of Darkworld Accession. This card lets you fusion summon a Fiend fusion monster by by banishing from your field or graveyard, I believe it might just be grave. Let's see. Banishing materials mentioned on from your field or graveyard, or if you're summoning a darkworld monster, this way you can also discard monsters as material. And then during the main phase, you can add this card from your graveyard back to your hand, and then discard a darkworld monster. You can use each effect of a session once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Sacred Beast's Thunderclap. Thunderclap has the effect where you can activate its effect to get 2 more copies of Thunderclap, and then you can reveal a level 10 Sacred Beast monster in your hand, to then also place the field spell face up from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Make sure. Let's see. Okay, lad. It cannot place the field spell face up from graveyard or hand. It has to be in the deck. And then during your end phase, you can activate the Thunderclap's effect to return it to your hand. Next, I play 3 copies of Graceful Charity, by which I mean Sacred Beasts Released. It lets you add 3 Sacred Beast monsters with different names to your hand, or from your deck to your hand, and then you discard 2 cards. Graceful Charity. Draw 3 cards and discard 2. But then this card also has the graveyard effect that I kind of want to try playing Sacred Beast Tombkeeper, just because Sacred Beast Released lets you search for, you can banish from your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, to add a level 10 Thunder, Pyro, or Fiend monster that cannot be normal summoned or set. And Anubis the Last Judge just happens to be a level 10 Fiend that cannot be normal summoned or set. So Anubis the Last Judge can be searched off of the graveyard effect of Sacred Beasts Released. And I think that's hilarious. Next, I play 3 copies of Fallen Paradise. The Gates of Darkworld. I saw a field spell and immediately said it's Fallen Paradise. The Gates of Darkworld makes so all your Fiend monsters gain 300 attack and defense. And then once per turn, you can banish a Fiend monster from your graveyard, discard a Fiend type monster, and then draw 1 card. Then lastly for the spells, I play 3 copies of Triple Tactics Thrust. Triple Tactics Thrust has the effect of you can only activate it when your opponent has activated a monster effect during your turn, but it'll let you add a normal or set a normal spell or normal trap from your deck. It cannot activate this turn, or if your opponent controls a monster, Cerulli, then you can add it to your hand instead. So I like it because if you see Thrust, but all you have is Darkworld combo, then you can use the Darkworld things, give your opponent Cerulli, then once it's activated you could Thrust, add Sacred Beast Released, then you can activate it and just start doing your Sacred Beast combos. You can only activate once Triple Tactics Thrust per turn. For the traps, I play 3 copies of Abyss of the Sacred Beasts. I really like this card because this is actually this deck's answer to Chaos Angel when it's summoned using Light and Dark. As Abyss of the Sacred Beast has the effect of once per turn, you can activate its effect to place 2 more copies of Abyss of the Sacred Beast face up from your hand, deck, or grave. And then once per turn, you can activate the effect of Abyss of the Sacred Beast, sending itself and 2 more copies from your face-up field to the graveyard for cost, to then, as well as target a monster your opponent controls. I believe it targets. Let's see. Yeah, then target a monster your opponent controls and switch it to face-down defense position. And then its last effect is during your opponent's end phase, you can place this card at the bottom of your deck. You can only use each effect of Abyss of the Sacred Beast once per turn. And then lastly, I play 1 copy as Sacred Beasts Combined Assault. Sacred Beasts Combined Assault lets you It lets you special summon a Sacred Beast monster. Just gonna make sure. It's summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. And then if you have 2 Sacred Beast monsters whose original levels are 10, then you can non-target and negate the effects of 1 face-up card your opponent controls. And then from the graveyard, you can banish it to then be able to summon a Phantasm Fusion monster by fusing monsters from your hand or field. And that's it for the main deck. Like I said, the main deck is 60 cards. I am just making this because I really like Sacred Beasts, and I'm trying to play as many variants of Sacred Beasts as I can. The next one, I believe, will be Tomb Keeper. Or Odeon, if you prefer that one. For the extra deck, I play one copy of IP Masquerena, one copy of Barricade Board Blocker, and one copy of SP Little Knight. Barricade Board Blocker has the effect on summon. You can discard a card so that at the end of the turn you can add a field spell or continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand. While it's on the field, your face-up spell cards cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. IP Masquerena lets you link summon using this card during your opponent's main phase, and then a link monster that's link summoned using IP Masquerena cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. SP Little Knight has the effect where if it is link summoned using a fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster, you can target one card your opponent. You can target one card on the field or graveyard. I don't think it actually targets. Okay, it does target. You target one card on the field or in the graveyard, banish it, and then if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can chain Little Knight's effect to then target two monsters on the field, at least one being a monster you control, banish both until the end of the turn. Next, I play one copy of Protect Code Talker. This card has the effect that your opponent cannot target your Link 4 or higher monsters with card effects, nor can they be destroyed in battle. And then if this card's in your graveyard and you control a Firewall Link monster, then you can banish Link monsters from your graveyard whose Link rating equals exactly 3. I think I just noticed an issue with my deck, as Link Kuriboh is not in here anymore. Let's see. Luckily that would be an easy fix, and I know exactly what I'll take it out for it. So I'll get to what I would replace for the Link Kuriboh when I get there. Realistically, you could take out Barricade Board Blocker for Link Kuriboh, or one of the next cards, which I think I'd do the Barricade Board Blocker first. Anyway, I feel dumb that I forgot to put a Link 1 monster in here for that exact purpose. But anyway, next I play one copy of Firewall Dragon. Firewall Dragon has the effect of, I have to remember because I haven't read it in so long, one spell face up on the field as a quick effect, and you target monsters on the field or the graveyard up to the number of monsters co-linked to this card. So Firewall Dragon points to Protect Code points to Firewall points to SP points to Firewall. You can bounce 2 monsters. And then you return them to the hand, and if a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, then use person a Cyberse monster from your hand. You really don't care about that. All you really care about is it gives you a quick effect bounce for sending Protect Code to its zone it points to. Oh yeah, and Protect Code will be banished when it loses the field due to its own effects. Then I play one copy of Zena's Deceiving Doll Maidens. This card has the effect of... You can also use a monster in your hand as link material to summon this card. You can use each of the following effects of Zena's Deceiving Doll Maidens once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can send a monster from your deck to the graveyard. Spell Canceller. Not even going to bother with the rest, because if you only use monsters in your field, then Zena lets you send an extra deck monster instead. And then during your next standby phase, after this card was sent to the from the field to the graveyard, you can add a monster from your graveyard to your hand. And then ordinarily, you'll use Protect Code and Firewall to make this, as it just requires 2+ effect monsters, so Firewall is 4 of those monsters. Protect Code can use as 1. So there you go, Link 5. And then after this, send Spell Canceller to the graveyard. You will summon Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom. Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom requires 2+ monsters. Against 300 attack for each different attribute on the field. And then once while this card while this card is face up on the field during the main phase, effect target 2 monsters you graveyard the same attribute but different types, or same type but different attributes, and special summon them. So in this case, it'll be targeting there are 2 things that are, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Spell Canceller is a machine. I just can't remember if it's wind or dark. Okay, it's a wind machine, so you target 2 things that are either wind or 2 things that are machine. It has to be the same type but different attributes, or same attribute but different types. You summon both, and then until the end of the next turn, this card cannot be this card and the summon monsters cannot be used as fusion, synchro exceeds, or linked material. So what you would do is you'd use Zena, send Spell Canceller, summon this using Zena and something else. And then this will bring back Spell Canceller and Zena. And then you have 2 monsters that you can send with the effect of Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beasts. That's a lie because you have Spell Canceller on the field. I'll be honest, I haven't really done the Spell Canceller thing yet, so that's a thing. So anyway, back to the rest of the extra deck, since the rest of the deck is actually kind of not mean. I play 1 copy of Dugar's to Timeless. This card will let you draw 2 cards and discard 1, but then you skip your next draw phase. You can double the attack of a monster you control, but skip your next battle phase. Or you can summon a monster from, I think it's either graveyard. It's either graveyard or your graveyard. Special summon a monster from your graveyard in defense position, but skip your next main phase 1 by detaching 2. Now I play 1 copy of Varudris. That's just one of the few Omni-Negate monsters that still exist. And in a deck where you easily can summon multiple level 10 monsters, Varudris seems pretty good to summon. Oh yeah, that reminds me. If you don't want to play the Spell Canceller Zena thing, then that gives you 4 or 5 spots in the extra deck that you can play around with. 2 of which I would say should be Gustav Max and Gustav Rocket. As Gustav Max can deal 2,000 damage, and then Gustav Rocket can discard a spell, and then use a Gustav Max to summon it. And then it's another monster negate. Next, for the fusions, I play 2 copies of Thunder Dragon Colossus. Colossus makes so that it is a one-sided draw and lock bird, so your opponent cannot add cards from the deck to the hand except by drawing them. And then if Colossus would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish a Thunder monster from your graveyard instead. And wouldn't you know it, this deck just happens to have 4 Thunder monsters in the deck naturally. That's the other thing, and that's be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing a Thunder monster you control during the turn in which you activate a Thunder effect in hand. So ordinarily you'll activate the effect of Summoner of the Sacred Beasts, which will then reveal itself, discard itself, assuming you don't have any Dark Worlds or Dangers to discard, and then it'll summon Haman. Then you contribute Haman and summon Colossus. Next, I play 2 copies of Fusion Grapha. Grapha, Dragon Overlord of Dark World, has the effect when your opponent activates a card or activates a monster effect, or the effect of a normal spell or normal trap. Then you can activate Grapha's effect to change that effect to your opponent discards 1 card. 1 card I really wanted to use in this deck just for this Grapha that I decided against it was 3 copies of Necomani King. Because Necomani King has the effect that if this card is discarded by an opponent's card effect, end their turn. So the whole idea is your opponent goes first to activate something like activate a monster effect or normal spell. You'll use Grapha. Grapha will then let you change the effect to you discard a card, or change it to your opponent discards a card. So now you're forced to discard the Necromante King. Now it's your turn again. And then if Grapha, Dragon Overlord, Darkworld is destroyed, I believe it has to be destroyed. Let's see. If this fusion summon card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, then you can summon a Grapha, Dragon Lord, or Darkworld from your graveyard or banish. And then lastly, I play 2 copies of the Chaotic Phantasmal Sacred Beast. This card has 2 effects, where up to thrice per turn, it can target one monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and then gain half its attack as life points. And then the twice per turn, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. And I really wish it did more than that, but like my main hope was that it would have been something like, if this card leaves the field because of an opponent's card, then you can special summon 3 Sacred Beast monsters, or 3 different level 10 Sacred Beast monsters from your graveyard or banish. I really wish it had that effect, but it's not, so well. But that is it for my Sacred Beast Darkworld deck profile. Like I said, I'll probably noticing that I don't have Link Kribo in the extra deck. I will replace this with either Link Kribo or Relinquished Anima. All that matters has to be a Link 1. Because Protect Code Talker has to banish Link monsters whose Link rating equals exactly 3. But if you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, and ideas for decks like see made in the future, I will be making a Sacred Beast Odeon deck. Or if you have any ideas that decks like to see face each other, feel free to comment down below. If you're still here, thanks for watching.